Okay. So, yeah, towards the end of the stream, I knew something wasn't right. I was cold as hell for no reason. It was like 70 degrees in here. I had my hoodie on and everything. I was cold. I was getting very weak by the end. I had to kill the stream. It was that bad. Um, yeah, eventually, just as the night went on, I was eventually crawled in bed. Dana was not tired, but I was freaking exhausted at that point. So went to sleep, and Saturday night I woke up a couple of times, and I was shaking, and I knew what it was. I was kind of right. Um, I had a few years ago had sepsis. I had gone septic. I was displaying stuff like that the week prior, but it seemed to clear up. So I thought, all right, well, maybe I'm wrong then. Saturday night, yeah, I was shaking. Before I even got into bed, I had a hard time breathing. I was beyond weak. There was a lot wrong. I knew something wasn't right. So I'm like, you know what? I talked it over with Dana. I'm like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna lay down. I'm gonna go to sleep. Sunday, I'm gonna go to urgent care because I gotta do something. This is just not good. I just thought I had a UTI, and for weeks I was trying to get one of my doctors to approve a UTI test because that's what happened the last time I went septic. Last time I had sepsis, and I just woke up. I knew something was wrong. I could not do anything. I physically was beyond weak. I couldn't get out of bed. I'm like, something's not right. And after talking to Dana and waiting to see if everything passed, I kind of came to the conclusion I need to go to the hospital. Something's not right. So, yeah, we did call for an ambulance and yeah, went to the hospital. I didn't know if it was because I had a UTI or something or if it was my foot. So I mentioned both. I'm like, the foot needs to be looked at too because I was taking care of one side. I didn't realize there was a hole on my foot on the other side. So going to the hospital, I was technically going to kill two birds with one stone. And yeah, they took one look at the foot and they're like, okay, we need to get an MRI on this. I had an infection in my foot. It got into the blood. They were concerned it might have gotten into the heel. I might have to have surgery. And they needed to do an MRI on the foot. My thing is, with my MS, my legs do not go out like this. They go like this. They cross. They do like a Fantastic Four logo. My right knee locks at a 90-degree angle sometimes. A few hours later, I'm down there for an MRI. MRI team sees that I have that problem with my leg, and they're not really able to get a good angle. After just trying for 5 minutes, maybe, they're like, okay, well, this is something the podiatrist is going to have to figure out. This isn't our problem. And they literally threw me back into the bed, and I got taken back to my room, and they threw me into bed and left me the way they threw me in. Problem with this, they thought I might need surgery. So because of that, there was I believe it was NPO, I think that's what they call it. No food, no liquid. I'm like, all right, one night, fine. They'll do the MRI tomorrow or something. 3 days. 3 freaking days in the hospital. Thankfully alone. I got a private room. I'll get into that. 3 days, no food, no water. Couldn't have ice chunks. I couldn't have small sips. I couldn't have anything. Until day 3, when I said, like, look, this has been 3 days. The MRI team has not come for me. And the one nurse, who was actually getting equally as pissed off, checked with them, and they're like, oh, yeah, you could have ice chunks. Prior to that, they only gave me a small cup of water with little tiny sponges on a stick. And they're like, okay, dip it into the water and soak your mouth, because I had cotton mouth due to the medication I was on. I'm like, are you serious? I can't have any water. I'm just sticking wet sponges in my mouth. What's the difference if I have a few sips, you know? But they're on me like, you can't have any sips of water. So, day 4, I'm pissed off. And I flat out said, look, I want an advocate. something has to be done. This is bullshit. I've been here for 4 days, and the only thing that's keeping me is this stupid ass MRI, and the MRI team just will not take me. A couple hours later, after I threatened an advocate. Hello, Kitty. Cat just came in. A couple hours later, like, okay, we're taking you down now. They take me down, the MRI team, they see the problem. One guy is just like, in a minute, he's like, okay, let's just do this. And gets my my leg stationary enough for the MRI. The problem was the MRI, laying flat like that, I get a lot of pain. So that was the problem with the MRI. They had to redo it a couple of times, redo certain ones, because the buzzing of the MRI was causing pain, and by the end I was in excruciating agony. But finally got the MRI. A few hours later, like 2 hours later maybe, they got blood work back, and they got the MRI results back. And speaking of, goodbye Deathbringer. So the blood work came back. MRI came back negative for infection in the heel, so no surgery required. Downed an entire bottle of water in one go. I'm like, I'm fucking thirsty, give me. Blood work comes back, and the doctor comes in with a very small, smug smile. He's like, do you have any animals? I'm like, yeah, I got a cat. Why? Did you get bit or scratched for any reason? I'm like, no, my cat doesn't do that. She'll scrape and lick, but she doesn't break the skin. Because, you had animal bacteria in your foot. I'm like, you can't be kidding me. So I guess what happened was, Ash licked the wound at some point, probably in an attempt to heal, to help heal it. And because of that, the bacteria from the licking got into my bloodstream, which caused me to gain sepsis. Septic, whatever the proper term is. So yeah, my cat nearly killed me. So they find all that out, literally quit caring about me. It's just like, alright, well, this is what we're gonna do, and you're out. Now, I laid in bed for 4 days straight. I barely was able to move. I'm like, alright. I think I have to go to physical therapy at this point. So I'm like, alright, I'm gonna, I put in for physical therapy at a place that I trusted. Now, one other thing I didn't mention, during all this, that room, that private room, was literally right next door to where they were expanding the cancer wing. So for 8 hours a day, drilling, hammering, all that fun stuff. Oh god, it was insane. So yeah, that was my hospital stay. So then I go to the physical therapy place I trusted. Again, private room, COVID, thank you. Best thing I could say. Physical therapy sucked because couldn't go to the physical therapy department. Everything was done in the room. But for me, it was mostly just, I want to make sure I could safely transition on the sliding board from point A to point B. That was the only reason I went. And by day 2, I was good. There was one person there who kept claiming that she was an MS navigator. And oh my god, I damn near Jesus leapt out of the bed with how angry she was making me. It was just friggin' annoying. Now, here comes the fun part. They were giving me my medication. They were giving me the antibiotic, which I still haven't taken today because of this particular reason. And part of the reason why I'm not feeling well. I just got home last night, and while I was in bed, Dana was going through all the medications that they gave me. Like, they gave me all the leftover medication that was prescribed and whatnot. She's going through it, and the antibacterial that I'm taking clearly states in there, do not ingest dairy or vitamins within 2 hours of taking this medication. The whole time I was there, I was very weak, I was very sick, and it was just diarrhea constantly. Like, no warning, it's just, oh, well, I crapped him. At one point, I had time, and I hit the buzzer. I'm like, I need assistance, because I couldn't it was like day 2, and I wasn't 100% feeling safe to do the sliding onto the toilet by myself thing. So I'm hitting the buzzer, and in comes the MS Navigator, and she's getting on me about how I need to take my baclofen, how I need to start taking it, I need to start taking muscle relax. I'm there like, I gotta go to the bathroom! And as she's scolding me and lecturing me, yeah, I wound up crapping my pants. It's like, she went on for 10 minutes, and I'm like, I hit the buzzer because I didn't want to crap my pants. And instead, you insisted on giving me a lecture about muscle relaxants. You bitch. And I just, oh my god, it was, yeah, that was like the tone of my entire stay there. So, now, I mentioned no dairy and no vitamins within 2 hours of taking that pill. You know what they were doing? Not one, not two, not three, technically 4 vitamins at the same goddamn time. Vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and iron. Clearly states on the box what not to take with it. They gave me everything all at once. I didn't know this. I was not privy to this information. So my entire stay, I was sick. I felt horrible. All because somebody couldn't read. Or they were just trying to streamline everything and just gave me everything at once. So, yeah. Suffice it to say, I'm still not feeling well because of all that. Because of all the medication I've been on. And that just, as soon as Dana found that, looking over the medication, I got a little livid. And I did report this issue a few hours ago, because I have a family member that works there in sort of a managerial role. So I did mention that. I'm like, I flat out said, I'm not mad, personally. I had no idea, or I would have said something. But it's more a concern of, what if they mix up meds for somebody else and it causes a major issue? For me, being there and having diarrhea and all that stuff, that's nothing major. But in general, like, what if it happened to somebody else where they mixed meds and it caused a problem? So I did actually reach out and report that. I never do stuff like that, but that becomes a concern of mine. And actually kind of took away some of my trust for the location, knowing that, you know? But yeah, the hospital stay was like a third world hellhole. Nothing to eat, nothing to drink for 3 days, technically 3.5. And then, where I went for physical therapy, it really wasn't bad. It was just, oh god, they didn't read the instructions for the medication, and it just made my stay nightmarish. It really did. That's not the best yet. I'm not dumb. So when I came home, or when I put in to go home, 30 minutes before the transportation shows up, we have a company here that they provide transportation for people that can't get into a vehicle on their own and everything. 30 minutes before they show up, the doctor is like, you know what, we didn't go over this with you, so we're gonna have to hold off. We can't discharge you yet. And it was weight bearing management, excuse me. I sat there when they told me that. I just looked at them like, I've been in a wheelchair for over 3 years. I'm not walking. There's going to be very little, if any, weight on that foot. What I don't need to stay another night, because I'm not really going to be putting a lot of weight on that foot. This is ridiculous. So it went from, you're going to have to stay another night because we didn't go over this stuff with you, to, oh, well, we have options, to, you're fine. And then it changed to, I was getting shots in the stomach to prevent blood clots. Oh, well, they were suddenly sending them home with me. So, like, well, we have to train you how to do it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah, so you're not going to be able to leave yet. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And then, oh, well, you can go home. The nursing agency that's going to help you out can show you how to do it. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. I just want to go home. So I finally get the okay. But because of all this crap, 2-hour delay. And I took an Imodium because of the diarrhea and everything. Well, towards the very end, one of the aides comes in to help get everything packed up and whatnot. And he literally shows me how to do it. It took 3 minutes. I'm like, I know how to give myself a shot in the stomach. I was on Copaxone a while ago. Many, many years ago. And it came with an auto-eject thing. You put it in there, you wound it up, and you pushed near where you were going to inject, usually in the stomach. You push the button and it injected. Only difference is, with this one, there was no auto-eject. It was just, boom, done, hit the button to retract. That was it. So, now I'm absolutely livid. So these guys show up late. It's only one guy. No one informed them that I was a 220-pound, 5'11" male. So they bring this wheelchair that is for 5'2" children, or feeble old men that have like no body mass whatsoever. So they cramp me into this tiny ass wheelchair. I have to have the legs on the chair or they can't transport me. So I'm hunched up in a damn near fetal position in this wheelchair. And because they ran late, the Imodium wore off. So the whole ride home, I'm trying to not have an accident. He's slamming on the brakes. He's trying to talk to me. I'm getting phone calls from the nursing agency. They're like, well, we have a few questions for you. I'm like, I'm not home. Can you please call back later? Please. So, and they did. So I get home. I get halfway home, I should say. I'm not done with the tale there yet. Halfway home, I realize I'm locked in place, but the brakes on the wheelchair are off. I couldn't put them in. I couldn't lock the wheelchair. I get home. I'm trying to move from their wheelchair into my wheelchair, and the brakes will not stay. They brought a wheelchair that was too goddamn small and was broken. Both brakes on the wheelchair were broken. So I'm like, all right, let's just put it up against the bed, and I'll get into bed. And then I'll transfer over to the wheelchair. As we did. I got into bed. Small-ass wheelchair. When I transferred, I barely got into the bed. And in the process, I moved the mattress. I had like this much room. I could not get in the wheelchair. I was stuck. On top of that, I did have an accident on the way home, which made it even more difficult. 5 minutes home, I'm calling 911 for the lift team to help me out. 5 minutes. I'm not home 5 minutes. They come and they help me get into the wheelchair. There was no coordination between the two of them. The one guy kept asking, like, okay, are you ready? Let me know when you're ready. And the other one was just like, right, let's go, and lifted me and almost dropped me twice. So at that point, I'm pissed off. I'm tense. I had an accident. I am so pissed off. And I'm frightened because at this point, I'm thinking the fault team is going to drop me. So I get in the wheelchair. I realize everything that happened. And I'm like, okay, I got to get to the bathroom. I got to clean myself up. I get into the bathroom. I get stuck on the toilet because of all that. An hour later, I'm finally all cleaned up. I come out. I'm fine after that. It's just... everything kind of fell into place after that. Dana couldn't sleep, so I didn't go to bed until like 5 a.m. because of that. So I had to reschedule my virtual neurology appointment for the second damn time and reschedule the nurse coming out to assist. I woke up, showered, first time showering in like a week and 2 days. I feel happy. I feel clean. I'm happy to be home, but oh my god. That was 8 or 9 days of pure hell. It really was. So, that's where I've been. That's what's been going on. And I'm still weak, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still, if you can't hear, I'm still weak. I'm still fighting the infection off. I got a few more days of that medication. And, yeah. This is my life right now. But, yeah. I mean, I'm home. I feel so much better. I feel safe. My cat initially seemed to want nothing to do with me. I thought I lost her, but she's back to her usual tactics. Not as friendly with me. Like, you could tell she was mad that I was gone and left her with Dana and the infinite cuddles. But, yeah, she's coming back around. When we went to bed, she started her I'm lonely meowing fit, which she hasn't done in years. Like, in 2 years, she hasn't. So, I'm assuming Dana just never heard her doing that. But as soon as she realized I was here, she came up onto the bed, walked around a little bit, got a little attention, she went away and went to sleep. So, I guess my kitty did miss me. She was just mad at me. That's my, that's my story. That's my trip to hell.